Hi friends, welcome to Building New Hampshire. I'm your host, Matt Mayberry. I'm the CEO of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association. We have a fantastic show for you on the St. Patrick's Day. My full name is Matthew Paul Fitzpatrick Mayberry, thus the green. Today is the two hottest topics in New Hampshire, housing and firearms. So if you can give us a little bit of your time, I promise you, you're going to form an opinion on these issues and you're going to learn something new. So stay tuned. Hi friends, welcome to Building New Hampshire. I'm your host, Matt Mayberry. I'm the CEO of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association. So glad you're with us today. We're going to talk about residential lending and we're going to talk about campus carry of firearms. So it's going to be a great show. We're really glad you're with us. But kicking off our show today, so I want to introduce you to my new friend. He's a great guy. His name is Jaime Frederes. He is a Senior Vice President for Residential Lending with New Hampshire Mutual Bancorp. Jaime, welcome to Building New Hampshire.
Very nice to be here. Thank you, Matt.
Oh, my pleasure. Let's get right into it because people are watching this, they want a home.
Okay.
So how did you get involved with banking? Did you just wake up one day and, like in the sixth grade and say, like, I want to be a banker?
No, it's funny. I went to college for corporate finance, and
Where'd you go to college?
St. John Fisher College in Rochester, New York, where I'm originally from. Interesting story. I actually, my father owned an insurance company, and I left college and went into work for the company business, the family business, and I tried to recruit a friend into the business. And he was actually doing mortgage originations, and he actually recruited me into the mortgage originations back in 1989. And that's where it all started, right from there.
You were in some pretty tough markets in 1989 if you're doing mortgages.
I've seen a lot of different cycles, yes. There's been a lot of events and cycles and interest rates movements in the residential lending space. But I tell you, the real estate industry, the building industry, and the residential lending industry endures, most definitely.
Jaime, our friends at home are saying, I've never heard of New Hampshire Mutual Bancorp. Like, is this a new bank? Is a new bank coming into New Hampshire?
Sure.
Enlighten us.
Actually, before I started working for them, I didn't hear about them either. New Hampshire Mutual Bancorp is actually the shared services holding company for three prominent mutual banks here in New Hampshire: Meredith Village Savings Bank, Merrimack County Savings Bank, and Savings Bank of Walpole. I'm also the Senior Vice President Residential Lending Officer for all three of those banks at the same time. So in most cases, I represent those banks day to day.
And luckily, all three of those banks are members of the New Hampshire Home Builders. So
yes, they are.
That brought us together today. Jaime, what are you seeing out there? Are people able to get loans? Are they having a hard time? Are interest rates staying the same? Are they prohibitive? What are you finding out there in the lending field?
I think residential lending over the last 5 or 6 years through the pandemic and post-pandemic has gone through a lot of cycles, most definitely. We saw historic interest rates during the pandemic, which allowed a lot of people to either, one, get into homes at a very low cost base because of the interest rate, or restructure their current debt structure on their current home. And take advantage of the low interest rates. Interestingly enough, I mean, part of the challenges in obtaining a home today is some of that inventory has been locked up with those low interest rates.
Very much.
Interest rates have risen, taxes have risen, insurance has risen. So I think some of the biggest barriers right now is, number one, finding a home that someone wants to move into, and secondly, taking a look at home affordability, which is a big topic.
One thing that you folks did with New Hampshire Mutual Bancorp that was very cutting edge, on the knife point, jumping in, is, well, our next guest is a state representative and others were working on an ADU, accessory dwelling units. I'm old, so we used to call them in-law apartments. But you folks were the first ones out of the gate with a product to help people finance those.
Yep.
Could you tell a little bit about them?
Yeah, and to be fair with our competition, we weren't the first one out there, but I think
You're on my show, you're on the first one.
Okay, but I think we took it to a different level, I think it's fair to say. We were recognizing that a lot of our customers in the communities that our banks serve were coming to us about wanting to explore and construct an ADU. Especially with the expansion of some of the legislation that has made it easier for ADUs, freestanding ADUs and so on, to be erected in the townships. The challenge, as I mentioned earlier, that many of these people actually had first mortgages that could be at sub 3.5%. And so where they wanted to construct an ADU, either for generational purposes or potentially income producing, it would mean paying off their first on a traditional loan to do the whole construction loan. So we took a look at having the capabilities and being one of the state's largest residential construction lenders. It was a very easy jump for us to take a look and say, hey, why don't we just create this product to be in a second position where you don't have to pay off your first. And you can still work with our construction team in constructing an ADU in second position. And we made those terms pretty favorable.
For those folks at home watching, and there's a couple 100,000 friends watching us right now, what does second position mean?
Sure, that's a good question. So I often use the kids game as Connect Four. When you drop the first checker in, it falls to the bottom. We would call that first position. So most of your mortgages on your title are in first position, and first mortgage is always required to be there. Home equity loans, home equity lines are typically in second position behind them on the title.
So that means if you go bankrupt or something goes wrong in your life, they get paid first, and then
the first position, then the second position, in some cases the third position. So we took a look at that as in taking a look at our knowledge of the state and building and everything, and we felt that was it was an acceptable product to bring into the community, and it's been met with great interest, and we've got a number of them underway as we speak.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you folks just do origination of mortgages, or do you do refinances also?
Oh, it's a good question. So we are the three, and I say we, all three of our banks, we are as full service mortgage origination servicing company as you'll find in any entity that you take a look at. We originate first position, second position mortgages. Not only do we act as a bank where we can lend on our portfolio, we do a lot of mortgage banking with Freddie Mac and other entities. And then we also have the ability to go out and find products outside our bank to help our customers in their needs. For instance, debt service coverage loans, bank statement loans. Just this last year, we introduced a number of government lending opportunities with FHA and VA. So we are a full service. Now, in many of those instances, we also service the mortgage. So we are
That's unusual.
It is in today's world. It's very
In a good way.
popular. No, it's very good. We take a lot of pride in our communities, and we are very happy to be not only help them get into a home and finance it, whether it be a purchase or refinance, but also be with you throughout the duration of your loan as your servicer too.
Because I think one thing that people miss, if I had hair, it would be gray. But they miss that community banking where they've known a banker for 20 years. They know their kids. They help through college. That community banking got lost in some of the big boxes. Where if you didn't check every box, you didn't qualify. Where if you looked at the person holistically, yeah, of course they had a hard time. Their husband or their wife had cancer 3 years ago, and the medical bills messed everything up. So you folks look at the person and their situation and where they're going, and almost to a point, their reputation. And I think that's a great thing. I got kind of lost with big banks.
Yeah, and I've certainly spent my time with big banks. I've been doing this a long time, and I've worked for national and regional banks. And one of the reasons I came here to this group is I wanted to be able to work with the people in the community I lived in. And I think that was very important. I've met very few adults who at certain periods of time have run into some challenges. And I think we're more than just an 800 number. As we're talking through some of those servicing remedies, we have an incredible staff who will work with them through some of those challenges. And because, we both live in the community.
Jaime, we're going to start, heading down towards wrapping up, but people are sitting on the edge of their couch saying like, okay, I need a loan. I like that guy. How can I find him? How can they find you? How can they find our friend Ken, who's, over there waving and wanting to throw things at me? But where are you in New Hampshire?
So that's a great question. So I mentioned earlier that we have 3 affiliate banks under New Hampshire Mutual Bancorp: Meredith Village, Merrimack County Savings Bank, and Savings Bank of Walpole. Each of those 3 banks in the communities they serve have the same product sets, have the same support services and everything. So whereas they're 3 individual banks, we are servicing just about the whole state of New Hampshire. Right. We stretch from coast to coast. I can't say we go all the way up to Canada, but depending on where you live in the state, reaching out to any of the originators at Meredith, Merrimack, or Savings Bank of Walpole, they'll be able to help you with the same products and services we've talked here today.
When you spend a lot of windshield time driving between your branches and meeting with customers, what do you say to yourself that you wish consumers knew about New Hampshire Mutual Bancorp that they don't know?
Well, I would say I'm more interested in them learning more about Meredith Village Savings Bank or Merrimack County Savings Bank or Savings Bank of Walpole, because those are the 3 entities that are right there in the branch network to help our customers as they walk in. As a shared services organization, just know that we're there to support those 3 branches so that they can meet the needs of the community with diversified products and services as well as support.
Good. You now can talk to 120,000 people. What do you want them to know about these 3 branches beyond the customer service, beyond what they see each day?
I think as you take a look, our goal as a mutual bank, where we're here to serve our stakeholders, which are our communities, our customers, both current and future customers, that we're very much committed to the success of our communities and our customers. And there are a lot of great banking entities out there, but if you really dive into and spend some time at some of the activities and the products and services that each of these 3 banks bring to the table, I think you'll be impressed at the commitment to the success of not only our customers and our communities.
Which product line do you expect the most growth through 26 and into 27?
Well, selfishly, I hope it's residential lending. But I think we've seen a lot. We've seen some great growth in our deposit growth, as well as our commercial growth. Because I think, as you mentioned earlier, people are enjoying being able to pick up the phone, speak to someone local, walk into one of our branches, and set up a face-to-face meeting. So once again, selfishly, I hope it's residential lending.
Me too.
But all our commercial departments, our retail departments, we are just excited about the level of trust that our communities are giving us, and deciding to make any one of those 3 banks their bank of choice.
Done. Perfect. Well, it's our bank of choice. We bank with Merrimack County Savings Bank. It took me a second there. Like, I'm the boss, so that means I'm in charge of nothing. But Jaime Frederes, Senior Vice President of Residential Lending for New Hampshire Mutual Bancorp, thank you for being on Building New Hampshire, and thank you for helping us put people in homes.
That's just been great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
And friends, we'll be right back with our next guest, so hang in there. Hi friends, welcome back to Building New Hampshire. Again, I'm Matt Mayberry, the CEO of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association, and I'm really excited for you to see our next guest. He's a fantastic leader here in New Hampshire. He's going to do great things. I keep telling him he's going to be governor more sooner than later, to which he just, as he just did, just smiles. but he didn't say no. So please meet State Representative Sam Farrington, the whopping old age of 21 years old, but State Representative, you've been in Rochester forever. Excited for my friends to get to know you. So Sam, welcome to Building New Hampshire.
Matt, it's great to be here. It's great to be with the Home Builders Association. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. You know you're from New Hampshire when your family name is on a building in concrete from like 1829 in downtown Rochester, the one we saw by Porter's Pub. So Sam, tell a little bit about you, your family. Why politics? You know, a lot of your friends are trying to figure out how to become stockbrokers and make $1 million or social media influencers, but you chose public service. So how did you get here from your ancestors, but what made you decide to take this path? Please.
Well, Matt, you mentioned Rochester. We're both from Rochester. I've been there a little longer. Our family has been there for a long, long time. I am 6 generations right in Rochester. And so we've had a small family farm in our family since going back before 1913. So I definitely have ties to New Hampshire, but also to the city of Rochester. And so over the past few years, Rochester has definitely been on the incline, making progress on housing, on other issues as well. And so you asked kind of like why I chose politics. I guess the story starts in 2020 when I was in high school still, and the COVID pandemic came around. And they said you have to stay inside your house, and you can't go to school, and you can't go to church, and you can't play baseball. And
you're a baseball player.
Yeah. And so, I mean, even though I was, 17 years old, like the government intrusion into our lives was just like I saw tyranny firsthand. People tried forcing you to take the vaccinations, and whether you support vaccines or not, I mean, it's a matter of personal freedom. And I am a strong supporter of freedom, of liberty, and I lived that experience, and I think that's why I have such a strong love for the principles of liberty. And so I decided to, care about politics, and I think that young people across New Hampshire and across the country are starting to care more and more about politics because it's directly affecting our lives.
And you know how to make effective change. Because, I remember when you first launched your campaign, all the gray hairs kept telling you, don't do it, it's not your time, wait your turn. And you said, no, I want to serve now. There's a need to be heard, and you were willing to do that. And you knocked on every single door in your ward. Was it 4 times or 5 times?
Three times.
3 times.
Three
We'll
times.
say 4. Yeah. But 3 times, and you beat, it was a 4-term incumbent?
Something like that.
Something like that. He had been this institution and this young, energetic, smart, focused leader step forward and say, like, it's now my turn. And you outworked them. And so it was great because everyone had set their expectations for you very low, and you just blew through all of them, and I couldn't have been happier.
I think my message resonated with people. I ran with a message kind of connected with the governor, Kelly Ayotte, and with other House Republicans. And for us, it's just about protecting New Hampshire as we know it right now, because we know that New Hampshire is the #1 state for freedom, 2nd or 3rd lowest taxes in the entire country, trying to get that down. But we respect liberty. We understand that government has a limited purpose to protect individual rights, and it's not much beyond that. And so it's our New Hampshire advantage. We don't want to become like Massachusetts or Connecticut or New York. And so I love the Granite State. I love live free or die. And I think that we need to do everything that we can to protect that.
So you're a constitutional conservative, which led you to what is quickly becoming your marquee piece of legislation, protecting our constitutional rights and freedoms. Could you tell a little bit about that?
It's the Protecting College Students Act, also known as Campus Carry. And what the bill says is that if you're a publicly funded university in the state of New Hampshire, you cannot deny lawful adults of their natural rights to defend themselves.
Meaning what?
Students, faculty, professors, they are allowed to carry firearms on campus. It's their natural right.
But also, if I remember correctly, because I attended the you did kind of a listening session the other day on campus. You went right into the heart of this to ask you any question. You had no time limit. I mean, I saw people engage with you for about 8 minutes, them standing on the microphone. Your legislation allows for more than just firearms, though. Doesn't it also cover mace?
Pepper spray,
Yes.
tasers, because some people might not be comfortable with a firearm, and that's their prerogative to decide. But if you want to carry a firearm, New Hampshire law already recognizes that. We have Article 2A, which is actually stronger than the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and that says that all persons have the right to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves, their families, their property, and the state. So it's explicitly clear this is an individual right, and whether you like guns or you don't, the Constitution doesn't really care about your feelings.
Yeah. It's one where if you don't want to carry, don't carry.
It's not, people say it's forcing everybody. No, it's not
even
forcing,
close.
it's not providing guns, it's only respecting the natural right of individuals to bear arms if they decide to. And what I think we will see is that it'll be a very, very small minority of people who actually decide to bear arms.
Absolutely. What do they do regarding the ROTC programs? I'm a veteran. I'm a 2A person. How do they deal with the ROTC programs on campus?
It's funny you say that because just last week at Old Dominion University, there was a school shooting. And there's sort of two reasons why I filed the bill. Number one, safety, and number two, liberty. From a safety perspective, we know that gun-free zones, supposed gun-free zones, only create soft targets where individuals are left as vulnerable because the bad guy with the gun does not care about a stupid sign on the wall that says no guns. And so we saw that at Old Dominion, where a former member of ISIS went and targeted a ROTC classroom. He shot up the classroom, the instructor was killed, tragically, and at least 2 students were left in critical condition. But what I find absolutely remarkable is that a group of ROTC students in that class confronted the shooter and they stabbed him to death. And keep in mind, the school had a policy banning not only all guns, but all knives as well. And so they broke the policy. But right now in UNH, you got UNH, you got Plymouth State, Keene State, they all have total gun-free school zone bans. And it's only inviting a tragic incident like that to occur at our college campuses.
Absolutely, because we're actual friends off camera and we're talking after your forum, and I said I would be very willing to buy anyone who wanted one a lawn sign that says, "My home is a gun-free zone." For everyone who wants to take away your weapons, let me put a sign on your lawn that says, "I don't have any guns in my home." I bet we won't have any takers on that.
I try to be as consistent as possible because we had that open mic event.
Yes.
And I'm a very strong supporter of free speech. And so if you disagree with me, I want to give you the chance to make your voice heard, and I will listen to you, and I will hear your concerns, and we can debate each other. But what I saw with that event, some of the people were just trying to disrupt it or whatever. But what I've seen is that those who oppose the bill cannot use logic or history or a constitutional argument to, try to defeat the supporters of the bill. And so it's just...
Well, Representative, you make it harder for them when you're quoting back Supreme Court cases, page and paragraph. It makes it a little hard for them.
Their arguments are based on emotion, and they're irrational. That's what I find.
Yeah. But, we're a big, small state, lots of issues, 1,300 pieces of legislation that have been introduced that you have to hear every single one of them. What else is on your radar screen of things that you'd like to change or see or that have held your interest since you joined the legislature?
Well, in terms of the top issues for voters, it's housing, so that's where your association comes into play. And you've done great work working on legislation. House Republicans have done extremely good work moving forward the housing agenda. And we've tried to make it clear that we do not need to have government subsidies to correct the housing issue. We only need to respect the property rights of people to build and to develop and to sort of, as you know, get rid of the regulations that make building more costly and a longer process. And we have the driveway, permit reform. We have the ADU bill that came into play. There's some other bills, and we did a lot of work in 2025. We're going to continue doing that in 2026.
Absolutely, because the work that you did in 2025 brought forward that 24% increase of building permits.
Mm-hmm.
Because
the highest in, what, 20, 30 years?
Correct, 20 years. Because when government gets out of the way, we know what to do. We're responsible stewards of the land. We're not here to pave over every piece of grass there is. We live in New Hampshire also. So I think that, the good work that you folks have done, we're going to get there. We're going to get there methodically, we're going to get there thoughtfully, but we are going to get there. And so, you spend a lot of time talking to your constituents. You are of Rochester, you're in Rochester, you're on campus. What are people saying to you as you encounter them?
Again, it's housing and it's taxes, and people are feeling the pain right now. Just the macroeconomy in general is a real burden on people. And so again, when we look at New Hampshire, we see the New Hampshire advantage, which is keeping government out of your way. And we've tried to expand that. House Republicans have repeatedly tried to introduce certain caps on local spending because we know that spending is the real issue. That's why property taxes are so high in New Hampshire. It's because of school districts and towns and cities that spend outrageously year after year. It continues on and on. And so if we want to cap taxes, we have to cap the local spending.
Absolutely. That, as we begin to wrap up, Representative Sam Farrington from Rochester, people are either yelling at the TV right now or they're cheering at the TV right now. How can they find you? How can they talk to you? How can they find you?
Well, I represent the city of Rochester, Ward 4, but I have the interests of the entire state at heart. And so I'm in Rochester. I'm a UNH student as well, but you can find my information online. I'm active on X specifically at Sam Farrington, New Hampshire. And you can find my personal contact information on the General Court website as well.
Perfect. What do you wish someone had told you before you got to Concord for your very first day in the legislature?
Be careful of who you trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there, especially in New Hampshire. We have 400 state reps, but you've got to keep a close watch on certain people.
Yeah, which is good advice, but it's sad they have to give you that advice. So as we wrap up, Sam, what do you want to say to, there's 120,000 of our friends watching right now. What do you want to convey to them?
Well, I'll tie it back to what I was mentioning earlier, that we live in the greatest state in the entire country. Our taxes are low. We respect freedom. We just got rid of the mandatory vehicle inspections, which I think is maybe one of the biggest wins of the entire year. And so our live free or die motto cannot be taken for granted. And so we need to protect that at every single moment. And come November 2026, it's going to be a big decision. We're going to have a decision of whether to keep New Hampshire on that path that we have been on for years, or we can turn to the ways of Massachusetts and other states and risk our ways of life.
Now, yes, you're my friend, but I also think you do a really good job in the legislature and for Rochester. Are you considering running for re-election?
Yes, I will be running for re-election. I enjoy this very well. My top priority, above all, is respecting the constitutional rights of individuals.
Soon to be Governor Sam Farrington, thanks for being on Building New Hampshire.
Appreciate it, Matt.
And friends thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next month. And again, we really appreciate your time.